19 countries have shared the joy in Gliwice, Poland. It was a beautiful show. We shared the joy, and Poland is the winner for a second year in a row. Should we talk about it?
Let's do
Let's do
this.
this.
Yes, Poland has won for the second year in a row.
We are the superheroes, we can save the world.
Let's quickly look at the overall results just to make sure we're all up to speed. First place was Poland with 278 points, putting them more than 50 points ahead of Kazakhstan, the runner-up. Spain, the Netherlands, and France round out the top three, and then it's North Macedonia, their best result ever. Continuing, we have Italy, Australia, Armenia, and Serbia on the left-hand side of this scoreboard. And then it's Belarus, Ireland, Russia, Georgia, Ukraine, Portugal, Albania, Wales, and Malta. Y'all are all winners. It does not matter where you finish. You have a bright career ahead of you. You guys, let's kick this off by talking about the winner, Poland, Viki Gabor, superhero Porig.
Well, superhero, it was obvious from the very beginning that it wasn't going to fall victim to, there seems to be kind of a curse for host countries, at least in adult Eurovision, where they come dead last or very near the bottom, because we just have to look at Israel 2019, Austria 2015, Norway 2010, and a whole load of others. They've all come dead last. But Vicky was had 1 million views on her national final performance, had 3 million views on her music video, another few million on her studio cut. So it was fairly obvious from the off that this was a popular song, contemporary, very down with the kids, and it was something that was going to transcend borders. And then the question was how well it was going to do rather than was it going to do well. She did do it, she gave a very strong performance on stage. The staging was effective. It definitely got the meaning across, because there was no fear that you wouldn't know it was about global warming with all the melting ice caps and stuff behind her. And then just to make sure that everybody knew, she had a few sign languages, or a few people doing sign language as well. Her costume, it was a choice. It kind of looked like they'd recycled Verka Serduchka's suit and kind of reworked it for a 12-year-old girl. But I'd say it's definitely a popular winner. And we're not going to go into it just yet, but I think any of the bad vibes that are going around are more to do with the system rather than the winner.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a deserving winner. It's been a favourite from the start. It was coming high in a lot of the polls. A lot of people were talking about it online. There was, a lot of hype around this song as soon as it was released, basically. I don't think you can, it came second with the jury and first with the televote. So it's got cross appeal from, music professionals and just the general public alike. I think in regards to the performance itself, the stage itself that they had in Poland was amazing. And to be honest, probably better than the one we had in Israel this year. But I think it was generally quite big, particularly for small children that were performing. So a lot of the results, I think, came down to how well a country was able to use the space. And a lot of the countries where it was just a single person on stage singing a ballad, in order to create dynamism, you had to go out to some wide shots. And with that, you were basically playing Where's Wally on the stage, you trying to pick out a figure. Whereas with Poland, because they had these sign language people on the side, that gave them that camera angle to use instead of constantly going out wide. And I think overall it felt more intimate and they used the space a lot better than some of the other countries.
You know what? This song was a fan favorite from the moment it came out. People loved the music video. There was a lot of hype. People said Poland's gonna do the double. She's a young Dua Lipa, very confident, very seasoned performer. I believe she lives in Britain or lived in Britain. She speaks great English. She's just so kind of pan-European, very Polish, very British. She's serving it all. She's international, a young Dua Lipa. The video was sleek. So Yeah, people shouldn't be surprised this was a strong contender. Everyone knew it was a strong contender from the very beginning. I like the avant-garde aspect of the staging. The kind of, they would have male dancers with like pink blush and they'd have another person with bright yellow. It was very bold. It really did pop. This was a very strong competition, which is why I think a lot of people are feeling upset for other acts. But like there were many deserving winners is the point of this year's competition. And this is how the cookie crumbled. In any case, let's now go around and say who our personal winners were, or rather whether Poland was your personal winner, starting with Porig.
Oh, well, but going into the contest, France was my personal winner, but then that all changed during the show, and I was very impressed by Spain. And I don't normally say this, but my own entry from Ireland, that gave me chills. The staging really made the difference for some acts. I felt that, say, France, for example, they had the great song, but the staging, they had a lot of wide angle shots, and it was nearly like they were focusing more on trying to show off this big fantastic LED they were using rather than Carla. Whereas I think Spain and Ireland and a couple of others, Macedonia, North Macedonia, they all did very used the staging and cameras to great effect. But yeah, there was I could easily list off 5 or 6 countries that I thought were deserving winners, and I wouldn't have been sorry to see any of them win, to be honest.
I think we said in our top 3 video that a lot could change when we went into rehearsals, and just going through the show, I was sort of like, oh yeah, I really like that one, and the next one comes along, oh yeah, I really like that one. And I think, even Kazakhstan, that was sort of under the radar for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But on stage, again, they just used the stage really well, and having the sort of spotlight effect and using coming from the back and the dancers around that. I think the Netherlands as well was one that stood out. For some reason, every year I go in, I hear the Netherlands' song for the first time, and it's like, oh yeah, that's all right. And then by the end of the sort of junior Eurovision season, it's the one that's constantly stuck in my head. I don't know how the Netherlands do it, but it's just constantly on repeat in my head. And I think it was a great performance. I could list a lot of them, really.
You know what? This competition was just so amazing. I definitely would have put Poland in my top 5 for sure. I think there were 2 countries neck and neck for my top votes, though, and they were Kazakhstan and Spain. These 2 really elevated for me with staging. Kazakhstan was a real-life fairy tale. He was serving it. He was very endearing and playful. I think before we thought he was just a balladeer shouting, but then when you see him live, he's got personality, and it was quite funny. Watching him in the voting was amazing. And then Spain was like next-level Little Mermaid live stage show. Ugly plastic, but a beautiful performance. I mean, these 2, they were very different also. I guess you could say Kazakhstan was more classic musical theater, whereas Spain was something like an animated movie. It was just, you've never seen a young girl in a recycled plastic dress absolutely slaying Greta Thunberg's message to opera. This was amazing. Spain's choreographer, stage director, needs to do Eurovision Spain, in 2020, because this is the kind of performance you need. Those 2 were amazing. So yeah, Kazakhstan, Spain, and then North Macedonia would have been my bronze medalist, along with the Netherlands. Oh my gosh, the Netherlands. Yes, that was my honorable mention in our top 3 coming into this. And people were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, wait, what? Because this was amazing. This was absolutely amazing. Tight competition. In any case, let's quickly discuss the jury. And to do this, I want to bring in Bernardo Tavares Pereira, our Portuguese correspondent. He was on the jury in Portugal, and he's just going to tell you what his thought process was, because different juries are told different things. But, this is how he assessed his votes.
Hey, William, Part, and Kid Jonathan. It's Bernardo here calling from Lisbon. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background on what I did yesterday. So I was invited to be part of the Portuguese jury for the Junior Eurovision. And I wanted to explain to you guys a little bit of the way my thought went when I was awarding the points. So I took into account basically the vocal performance of the jury rehearsal, as well as the song. In this case, if the song fits the artist and the main theme of Junior Eurovision, if it's more of an adult song or more of a junior song. So, and the fact that if the songs match with the artist, and then of course the staging and the overall impression of the performance, and basically that was the main thought behind the way I voted. And that's why I've been so silent about Junior Eurovision on social media, except discussing Portugal, because I couldn't discuss anything else, basically. I didn't want to show my allegiances to any country, really. So I decided to stay put. And yeah, I think my top three, by now, my results should be out, because I think they will release the individual results very, very soon. So I gave my 12 points to Spain. My 10 points, I think they were for North Macedonia. And my 8 points were for the Netherlands, which ended up winning the Portuguese jury. And that's basically it. I don't know what to tell you more. It was an amazing experience. Thank you, RTP, for inviting me. And thank you, William, and the rest of the rest of the team for allowing me to be a part of this experience. And I hope to see you very, very soon. The road to Rotterdam is right around the corner. See you soon.
Okay, from that we talk about the fit of a song to the artist. Viki Gabor's song really fits her. She really, really works well in that genre, that dance music genre. At the same time, I thought Spain really fit her song, Kazakhstan really fit her song, and the Netherlands fit that dance vibe. What I'm trying to say is all of the top finishers had a song that really matched the artist. So you guys, what do you think about fit, and what do you make of the jury results, Porig?
Firstly, I'm not sure if fit is kind of a good criteria for jurors to have fit for a singer, especially at Junior Eurovision, because a lot of people think that Junior Eurovision artists are all into like Little Bo Peep and Old MacDonald Had a Farm and that kind of nursery rhymes. But when our Esma, who's over on the ground, she asked a number of them who their favourite singers were, and they came back with stuff like Billie Eilish, Rihanna, Ariana Grande, and they are not the child little things that some people think Junior Eurovision is all about. So the fact then that when people say, oh, this song is too grown up for Junior Eurovision, but then the artist is saying that Billie Eilish is an influence, you really have to kind of reassess your views. So I'm not sure if that's a good criteria to be looking at. But I think sometimes, especially at Junior Eurovision, the Junior Eurovision jurors seem to be suckers for big vocals. That at the Eurovision in May, people look at the song as a whole, but there's something about the vocals that is just like nectar to the Junior Eurovision juries, because if you look at the likes of Gaia Kauchi and Ukraine 2012, and now we have Kazakhstan 2019, that their songs were maybe old-fashioned and quaint, but they gave such magnificent vocal performances. And I have to wonder sometimes, for Junior Eurovision, they need to kind of work out whether it's a song contest or a singing contest, because if it's a singing contest, Kazakhstan deserved it, but then in a song contest, Poland is probably the most deserving, but then Spain and all these different criteria. Like, it's a very hard competition to assess. And then there was one or two, like...
Hey, sorry, can I interject real quick? Sorry. It's an excellent point. I think that's why the Netherlands coming fourth with the jury is so remarkable, because that, while he can definitely sing, that was not like the vocal operatic, stereotypical power ballad. That was a performance, an overall performance. And I think if people could step away from the vocal bias, maybe he could have even come second or third. Do you know what I mean? Because that was a stage show. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and then just the last thing is, sometimes I think these juries, you've said it time and time again, can play safe because their names are beside it. Because when you look at the left-hand side of the scoreboard, I see two very safe songs that nobody was really talking about beforehand. This is the left-hand side of the jury scoreboard, is Australia and Italy. And when you look at them, they're very competent performances, but they weren't really generating much excitement and buzz, like at the same level as some other songs. So I think a lot of time as well, the jurors often go safe and they avoid taking risks and going for maybe songs that are more out there.
And we move on to Jonathan.
I think definitely, as we were saying, there seems to be a shift in Junior Eurovision these sort of last few years. So we've had the sort of, the years of big power vocalists and usually young female singers that can really belt out a song. Whereas I think definitely these past 2 years with Poland, there seems to be some sort of gear shift where more modern, upbeat songs are able to come through to the top. And that's not just in the public, but sort of in the jury as well, when you see, Poland coming second and the Netherlands coming fourth, and even, France coming. None of those were big vocal performances. So I think we're maybe sort of halfway in the middle at the moment, which is perhaps a good place to be. We know the start with Junior Eurovision was just all about being fun, and the kids would go a bit crazy. We had the Bumblebee song. Then we shifted through to an era of the big power ballads, and now we seem to be in some sort of other shift towards something in the middle, which I think in the long run will be a positive thing.
Okay, let's now look at the televote. These were the overall results. Poland came first, followed by Spain, then France, then the Netherlands, and Kazakhstan rounding out the top 5. And then it's Italy, Serbia, Russia, North Macedonia. Well done to them. Belarus, Armenia, Portugal, Australia, Ireland, Georgia, Ukraine, Albania, Malta, and in last place, Wales. Now, you guys, obviously online right now, a lot of people are saying Poland is going to win indefinitely every year until 2067 if the televote, if you're allowed to vote for your own country in the televote. I'm curious how you feel about this. We should point out Poland came second with the jury, so this is a quality song. This was a fan favorite. And yes, Poland has won for the second year in a row. But again, seems to be more of an issue with the system, not with the actual song. So let's make that very clear. She is a deserving winner of this competition, and she did win, so well done you. I look forward to seeing you in Klavica next year, Krakow, wherever. However, the question, Porig, is how do you feel about countries being allowed to vote for themselves?
I think that the online jury system, as it is, needs to be picked up and thrown in the trash because it's not fit for purpose. Because it's the restrictions. Like, people accuse our Wee Blogs polls of being hacked. We at least allow only one IP to vote. I can vote on my computer. I can vote on my phone. I can vote incognito on my browser. I can vote in Windows Explorer. I can vote in Chrome. I can vote in Firefox. I can vote as many times as I want, basically. There is no method. At no point do they ask you to register with at least even try restricted by email address. There's nothing at all. So you can go free for all, depending how passionate you are. And the thing is, if they invest a few euros into, well, like more than a few euros, probably a few thousand euros into the system, they can get something that works. Because I know, for example, that there's the BBC have their Strictly Come Dancing where you can vote online there. And they block it that if you're in Ireland, you can't vote in it. So why can't they have individual little portals for the 19 competing countries where only Irish people can vote here and Ireland is not in the thing, Poland, and then they can go back to the system. Whereas right now, it seems like they've taken the cheap and easy option by saying, oh, Junior Eurovision isn't as popular. But when you've got millions of people watching in some countries and only a few thousand watching in other countries, like, how long are Wales going to... This is the second year in a row, I think, that Wales have come last in the televote. And it's largely because such a small number of people watch in Wales compared to Poland. Like, Wales doesn't even fit... I saw some statistics. The amount of viewers in Wales wouldn't fit the biggest stadium that is in Cardiff, whereas the amount of viewers in Poland would be 30 of those stadiums. So it's going to become a stage where you only have 4 or 5 big countries participating, because why would Ireland participate if it's never going to at least get top 10?
Yeah, I can see why this voting system was introduced to begin with. We came from a period where Junior Eurovision viewing figures were dipping, and they had that year that it was basically just all decided by a jury. So they definitely needed something that brought viewers back in and gave them a way to say their vote, to give their vote. I sort of saw one person on Twitter say that, the amount of points that Poland got in the televote, they could have finished, 9th in the jury and still won. So I think, when you have such big televote wins that we've had in the past couple of years, it's whether you want the televote to have so much power, or because you've got this jury as well, matching the two together is always difficult. As we've been saying, if you just go down the list of countries in the televote, there's probably some sort of statistical proportional relationship between the amount of points they got and the size of their country or population.
Let me just tell you this. Wales and Malta definitely have the two smallest populations. We can confirm this, and they come 18 and 19. Now, there is wiggle room, but that's very telling. Malta has, 300,000, 400,000 people, and they come next to last. Come on. Sorry.
But yeah, so I can see why the EBU wanted to put this in to begin with. I think, they've had a few years of it now. Now it's time to really tweak it, hone it, and make sure that it's working properly. Because, John Olosan sort of said that the first year that they introduced this, that this was sort of a test for the big Eurovision, whether they'd be able to introduce online voting for the main Eurovision in May later on. At the moment, if you're able to vote for your own country, then no, that's definitely not going to work in the big contest at all. So there are definitely tweaks that need to be made.
This is my message for Europe. Please reveal how many people in each country, or what portion of people in each country, voted for their own country. I think that will be a very interesting barometer. That would tell us a lot. And I think it would also benefit the winner, because I do believe that Poland could have won the televote even without Polish people voting for Poland, because it's such a popular song, very radio friendly. But there will always be this cloud of suspicion because people can vote with them. You know what I'm saying? People will use that as ammunition, when in fact she's clearly a deserving winner. She came second with the jury. Would she still have won the televote if Poland couldn't vote for Poland? Would Spain still have come second if Spain couldn't vote for Spain? I really want to know that. Under the current system, you just won't know that. The Netherlands, of the top four, has a very small population compared to France, Spain, and Poland. Significantly. I think the Netherlands is 10 to 14 million, something like that. I think.
But see, then it all depends on the country as well, because I think Netherlands gets quite passionate about Junior Eurovision. And see, some of these stations, like Poland, as far as I know, they were showing it on 3 or 4 of their national stations. They were that far behind it. So it was nearly easier to watch the competition than to avoid it. Whereas in Ireland, it's shown on TG Cahir, which, even though it's Ireland's 4th channel, is less popular here than BBC One and ITV1. More people watch those, they're British channels, than TG Cahir. And TG Cahir aren't starting their coverage for, as of now, we're recording this video, for another 30 minutes. So Ireland can't even watch it live. So how can Ireland vote for themselves? So the system, and Australia isn't showing it till 6 p.m. tomorrow evening their time.
Yeah.
So obviously certain countries, the way the broadcasters work and everything, that there is they need the online vote with the weekend to vote to give Australia a chance. But the way it's working, if the EBU are so easily able to just cut off North America from watching the show, why can't they apply the same geo-blocking technology to their voting to make it work? It's beyond me.
Y'all know what I don't get? With the online vote, you don't have to watch the performances. You watch a recap. Is it 1 minute of a rehearsal? Where I think they should, if you want to vote online, I think they should make you, if you're watching the television, you don't have to watch all of them, but I think you're more likely to watch them. Whereas an online vote, you're like, I'm here to rig the vote, I'm here to vote. I'm not talking about any country in specific, but I'm just saying, you can make a very ill-informed decision. I don't know, Serena Williams' tennis coach, Patrick Mouroglu, he can tweet, vote for Carla, and then people can just go vote for Carla without actually watching the show. It just seems a bit weird. This is not a presidential campaign. This should be a competition judged on performances.
And there was the whole thing, there was a lot of scaremongering on Friday night on social media that Wales and Portugal were going to become second and third, because apparently all of Spain were giving first votes to Melanie and then just strategically voting for Wales and Portugal and such countries. That obviously didn't happen, but there is the potential that if somebody was organised, they could do that you deliberately vote for the weaker songs, and it gives your own song even more of a boost.
All right, final thoughts. I think that Poland did a great job staging this. They have proven they are ready to be in the Eurovision spotlight. I mean, I would love to see them host the adult Eurovision. Let's hope they get similarly stellar tracks for their adult Eurovision singers, because they've proven the past 2 years they can deliver pop-friendly songs that have broad appeal to many Europeans. Well done to them. I also hope Kazakhstan realizes it can win this. This is it's a very exciting time. I feel like Junior Eurovision is being reborn. This is a renaissance, and that's not just because France is here, y'all. It's just a rebirth, and I am living for it. Porig.
I'm loving how Junior Eurovision seems to have bounced back from the low that was Malta 2016, when it was in this little conference hall, and like the arena in Poland looked every bit good enough to host the adult. The only thing was that critique I would have was the hosting was that they kind of lost the way a bit with the interval acts, and they had a little bit unnecessary that common song seemed to go on and 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 on. And but yeah, they did a very good job. The production was top notch. You didn't have the same complaints about, I remember in Tel Aviv, when you go onto any form of social media, everybody was just going on about these long camera shots and everybody became an expert on them. We didn't have that problem for the most part this year. Poland did a great job, and hopefully this reinvigorates them at the main Eurovision, and that we get to see them at least knocking on the door to win, if not win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think production-wise, it's been really great. Poland have put on an amazing show. For me, I think in terms of a final thought, the one thing that has stuck out to me in the past 2 years is Kazakhstan's participation, and then just not being in adults at all. I think, the EBU maybe need to think about how they want to continue going forward, because having them in one and not the other just seems really odd. And why you would let the kids participate but not the adults. I am probably a bit biased. I am a big advocate for having Kazakhstan in main Eurovision in May. I'm a big fan of Kazakh music and would love their music scene to be featured. But I think, it's definitely something that needs to be thought about going forward.
That's a really good point. It's almost like we need y'all in this little competition, the kids competition, because we ain't got enough countries, and y'all are like, a Band-Aid. But, when it comes to the real main event, it's weird. It's a weird double standard. It's almost like they're using them, saying, we need you here, but we don't need you there. I'm sorry. You need to have that, the kind of the philosophy of the more the merrier. Okay, they've proven themselves. They have a passion for these song contests. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Who was your overall winner? Do you prefer the televote winner or the jury vote winner? How would you change the voting system, if at all? Let us know here on Wee Wee Vlogs.
And make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications, because now the Junior Eurovision is over, it's national final season, so there'll be lots more videos coming for the next few weeks up until the end of May.
Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and leave your comments down below. And yeah.
We will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Why y'all gotta lag?